voices collide. Fingers twist, dials chasing the tide. Antenna stretch high, scratching the sky. Crackling whispers, the reason we try. Shenanigans live stream rolling tonight. James and Dan breaking the quiet fight. Ham radio scream in the park's twilight. Electric chaos under the moonlight. Frequencies dance, they jump and they burn. Signals lost, found, taking their turn. Echoes of voices from miles afar. Tangled up messengers under the stars. Shenanigans live stream rolling tonight. James and Dan breaking the quiet fight. Ham radio scream in the park's twilight. Electric chaos under the moonlight. Spin the wheel, send the call. Voices rise, towers tall. Crashing waves of sound collide. No escape, nowhere to hide. Shenanigans live stream rolling tonight. James and Dan breaking the quiet fight. Ham radio scream in the park's twilight. Electric chaos under the moonlight.
CQ Field Day. Hello, CQ Field Day. CQ Field Day. Hello, CQ Field Day.
Kilo Echo 8 Papa Zulu November, the Ham Radio Adventure Guy. Thanks for stopping by your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. It is Sunday. Means it's time for a little shenanigans, a little bit of great music, and a whole lot of fun. Before we get started, we're going to thank our Patreons because they are awesome, awesome people. And I'll tell you what, I hope none of you guys are as tired as I am this evening. Also, a big shout out to our YouTube members, including Josh. I'm going to say it one more time. Josh is not afraid to row. He is the newest photo rover. And then the ever-changing board that people are now scared to death to get to change. I tell you what, this board is about to end. It is almost the first of a new quarter, so if you're going to make a change, you got to do it soon. Dan, what's going on?
That is very true. It is almost the end of the first quarter, isn't it? Man, time flies. But Shenanigans Sunday, episode 128. Welcome, everybody. Let's run down the wrist. Let's run down the list real fast. Kilo Oscar 4 Sierra X-Ray Hotel. Bill, what's going on? Kent Kilo 9 Alpha Echo Echo. Hello, hello. Kilo Oscar 4 Golf Bravo Bravo. What's happening, Mo? Georgia Parks and Propagation. That is Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray Oscar. Or this weekend, Whiskey 4 Romeo 6 Alpha Golf Alpha. Good to have you in here. KO4 FSZ Antennas 1 Bravo North Carolina. Hello, hello. Our buddy Andy Cowley is here. What's going on? 2 Echo 0 Romeo Echo Echo. Good to see you, buddy. Cornbread KO5 RN. I did eat my spinach. Actually, I like spinach. Mike, 88KB, please copy. Hello. Toby, Alpha Delta 2, Charlie Delta is going to be in and out to the Shenanigans net. She has to prepare for her activation tomorrow morning. So if you are around the radio, hit her up. Let's see who else we got. Kelly Rose, the Island Crew, KI4JAV. And Dad is here, Kilo Delta 9 Uniform Victor Kilo. Richard, the trucking ham, is here. What's going on, buddy? Kilo 6, Romeo, Delta, Juliet. Almost Huntsville time, man. See you in a couple of months, I hope. Martini, Whiskey Delta 4, Juliet, Mike. Let's Sandy, Kilo Oscar 4, Oscar. What's going on? Terry, Kilo 8, Golf, Quebec, says he'll have the chicken. That's always a good choice, buddy. Ronnie, Kilo Oscar 4, Zulu, Romeo X-Ray. What's up, buddy? Chris, Whiskey 0, Charlie Golf, Charlie. Good to have you in here, buddy. Kilo Oscar 4, November, Lima, Lova, Smoking Poda, Eddie. What is up, buddy? Kilo Echo 4, Eastern Standard Time, and Kilo 4, Alpha. Good to have y'all in here. And that's it for the list. I think if I missed anybody, slap me and say hey. But welcome to another Sunday. We made it through the field day shenanigans and the field day QRM and the field day. How was your field day, James? You look like you haven't slept in since Friday.
What a coincidence. Other than a very, very small nap, I'm going on 48 hours plus. Yeah, I'm a tired puppy. That is for sure. Started out, I guess I went to bed about 12 o'clock on Thursday night, and then we were up about 4 on Friday to head out to Louisville, Kentucky, to do my last park in Kentucky, which is now done, and we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. And then it was straight back to Whiskey Victor to go into the throne room and start doing field day. We'll talk about that too. I'll tell you what, I hope everybody had a great weekend. I can't say my weekend wasn't great because I am done with Kentucky. Now first off, shout off to Terry for taking me out there, and shout out to Brent for going out there and hanging out with us. But the big shout out is going to go to Kelly and Ricky, because without them bringing up their boat, I would still be trying to figure out how to get on the world's smallest sandy beach and get an activation, or else we'd have had to start hoisting people up to climb up the walls and get on the top there, I guess. But we did get an activation in, and matter of fact, we destroyed an activation. The bands were absolutely perfect yesterday morning. I could not ask for better. We did 20. We did 40, and there was a couple people asking for 20, so we went to 20, and then somebody even asked for CW, and I didn't spot on CW, but I did do a little bit of CW just to give people what they wanted. So, but really, hats off to Kelly and Ricky, because they went out of their way. They drove as far as me and Terry, to get there, and they pulled the boat. So if it wasn't for them, that trip would not have happened. But I think everybody had an absolute blast. Terry, now known as Grandpa Chicken Sea Legs.
He doesn't do well on boats, huh?
He was, Kelly had to hold his hand, and I think Brent may have held his hair for him when he was throwing up off the side of the boat and stuff. But
I've never gotten sick on a boat, but as much as I fished in my life, I used to fish every single weekend. And even still, once I stand on a bass boat for 8 to 10 hours, even on a lake with not that big of waves, I still go home and I still have that sense of movement, for a couple hours after. So, yeah, it happens to everybody.
Well, that I don't think he was seasick. I just think he was a little nervous, maybe.
Yeah.
A bit nervous.
Well, it's his first time doing an activation,
Well, we were in a boat, and I even asked Ricky. I said, "Are we going to make 2 trips? We good in this boat?" And he said, "Oh no, this boat will." But I guess Terry was a little nervous. It said maximum capacity 4 people or 600 pounds. And I'll say with me and one other person and the gear we took, we were 600 pounds. And we added three
Maybe
more people. But you know what?
maybe next
The
time you need to
boat
put
did its
somebody with a, yeah, the boat did its job, but next time put somebody with a life vest on and a rope and just tow them.
well. I thought somebody was going to have to swim back
Yeah.
because we got done activating. I hadn't turned in my log yet or nothing yet. And Brent, which is the Kentucky map rep, said, "All right, I'm getting ready to drop 2 parks." And I told him, I said, "You will swim back. You will not get your life jacket, and I will throw a rock all the way back at you."
We got to go to
Oh,
Home Depot and get some cinder blocks, some plastic, and some rope and duct tape.
yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
But it was an absolute blast. It was a really small little sandy area that we activated in, but you know what? It got it done. Us and all our equipment was on the island, and we made it happen. So,
Sounded like y'all were having a lot of fun. So,
like I said, band worked great.
yeah, they were. I know you were silly loud on 20 meters. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you were about on 42, but you were about on 20, and Cho, Pennsylvania, was really about on 22. But we got James up in Canada, park to park. He was one of the ones that was wanting 20 meters, so 20 meters was a success. And then Fred, Fred has been waiting this activation for months now. Like,
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
he keeps messaging me like, "Is it still on? Is it still on? Is it still on?" And he got us on. He got us on 40. He got us on 20. And before we went QRT, he said, "NECW, NECW." So I told Brent, I said, message him in Discord and tell Discord we'll do it Discord only CW. So,
Terry says it wasn't an island; it was a mountain with a volcano.
it was a live volcano. I mean, and it may have been erupting while we were activating as well, but nobody died, Terry. Nobody died. That's the important thing.
It was, and the good thing is, if something would have happened, you've already had emergency communication set up and established on the island, so
Right.
you were already a step ahead.
And for those wondering, okay, so we're going on an island, and originally it's supposed to rain that day, and it said it wasn't going to rain till late, but there was a chance of rain. So 2 radios was brought, and over at the dock there was the big decision of which radio am I taking to the island. So
Good one.
First off, the FX1 was not there. There was no chance in the world that thing was going across the water. So I did have the 891 with me, and I did have the DX10. And I did decide to do the DX10, and I'm glad I did because it sounded a lot better than the 891 would have, and we would not have made as many contacts because some of those people I wouldn't have been able to pull out. So I'm very happy that we'll put the little sandy area we was in was narrow enough that when boats would go by and throw a wake, it would almost hit my coax running into the back of the radio.
Wow.
So
Good for the radios, though, huh? Did you put any radios out in the water?
No, none of the radios went out in the water.
Oh, that'd have been good.
Salt water. It wasn't going to help.
It might still help a little bit. I don't know. I've never, experimented. I've never put radios in any kind of water, so I couldn't. I mean, I don't know.
I haven't looked at the footage yet. I did film it, so there'll be a video for sure. I don't know how long, because at some point the battery went dead. And I wasn't watching the camera because I was just excited that Kentucky's been a while coming, and I was excited to get that one out of the way.
Ghost Ships Making a Wake. That's right. That's a good movie, by the way. Ghost Ship, if nobody's ever seen it.
And Ricky had never had his boat on the Ohio, so he was tickled. It was also a twofer.
I'm about to say with Lewis and Clark then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got there and we were on that little tiny sandbar, and I just told you how close it was. And I said, Brent, do you think we're close enough to making a twofer? So yeah, we now are. I don't know if they've turned in their logs. If everybody's turned in their logs, we are now the top 5 spots on that park as well. So
Yeah, the old record was like 70 something, wasn't it?
73, I think. And the 4 of them got 124, I think, and I got like 133 after my CW.
All logs are in. It's been reported.
Good deal. Good deal.
Congratulations on a good island expedition there, guys.
You know, it was funny. Terry, I got to Terry's house and he said, "Are we staying the weekend?" He said, "It looks like you're preparing for an expedition." I was like, "I am." I mean, because in all honesty, that's kind of an expedition to me. You know what I'm saying? Because an expedition is about going to some place that does not get activated very often and is very hard to get to.
Well,
You know,
he had to be, yeah. Well, he had to be back by Sunday to wash his hair.
Right. In my opinion, that was an expedition to me because I mean that thing had been activated by 4 people before the 5 of us went there, and had a total of 170 some contacts before we went there.
So you almost doubled the contact count.
Oh, we
Yeah, you know.
doubled it.
Yep. That is awesome. Let's see. Whiskey 8 Juliet Echo Sierra says he's in Charlie Tango now and will be in Mike Echo on Monday.
There we go. I hope you're having a great trip. Hopefully the bands will get rid of some noise now the field day is over for you, John. Now, as far as field day, it was field day. I had fun. You know, I always have fun when I get around my radio people. But our setup, where we were set up this year, was not. We were set up in the Kingdom Capital, but in my opinion, maybe the worst spot in the Kingdom Capital to set up. So we were in between 2 mountains, which is everywhere in West Virginia. But when I say 2 mountains, I'm talking about as wide as this camper that I'm streaming in right now.
Yeah.
Is what I felt. And I felt like our signal was just having to go so far up, and then it was just jumping over all the people. Because like when I activated, I tried to do 60 and 80 and stuff like that there. Not for field day, for POTA. And you know, I was struggling, and of course I couldn't go to 40 because they were working 40, 20 for field day. So I ended up going. I didn't say QRT. I said I'll be back in like 10 minutes from another spot in the park. I ended up driving down to another spot in the park and going to 40 meters, and I spotted on one frequency, and you know, I asked the frequency used 3 times. I spotted, and I called CQ twice, and some guy starts calling CQ field. They were right there. I said,
I got you. I got you on 60 and 80, and it was rough. It was rough.
I said, I'm not going to do it. I said, so I went to another frequency, and then I got people piling in really quick. So, but still the QRM was just absolutely horrible.
It's like they don't realize how far they need to space out because they were like 1 KC away from each other at certain points in the day. It was ridiculous.
And in CW, they were like 7044, 7044.25, 7044.5, 7044.75.
Yeah.
That's mostly what I did. Matter of fact, I think all of my contacts for field day are CW. So
We went well this morning. I spotted on 40 CW. I finally found a clear spot, but every like 500 hertz there was a station. Every single one. I was like, holy crap! We ended up I went 17 and 30 meters. Picked up a handful, not even a handful, like 4 contacts from 3 people.
yeah, I noticed you guys had just went QRT like right by the time I went over and got set up. I went and did the wildlife management area, and I actually didn't have that much trouble finding the spot on 40. Got an accurate.
Yeah, 40 sideband wasn't bad. We found a little clear spot, and about halfway through, some QRM, creeped in on us, but we did good on 40 sideband. I was also, it's my fault probably. I didn't get that many contacts on CW because I was not using a traditional antenna.
What were you using?
I just put out part 5.5. It's kind of like a mid-series drop of videos or my random antenna series, but I was using a fence. As a matter of fact, the fence that is in the park there.
Nice.
So like a chicken, not a chicken wire fence. It's a fence it's a wire fence, maybe like 4x4 square grid. Yeah.
I'm just curious if anybody in the chat has noticed anything in the past weekend. And Terry, you don't count because you done figured it out. I know you figured it out. But anybody else notice anything that me and Dan has possibly been up to lately? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wonder if they've noticed that. Been the
I
last
know,
since
Terry,
Friday. Yeah, about since Friday. I'm sure everybody on the island would know.
well, but do they? I'm curious
I don't know. Yeah.
because I don't know that if I mentioned it when it happened.
I don't know.
So,
I'll give you a hint. I'll give everybody a hint. I'm just going to say one thing. Here we go. India. That was so funny when you did that.
Oh, did you hear me when I did that station?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Well, I called them like 4 times, and I was like, "Oh heck no!" So I said, "I'm going to Zulu this."
We got a couple people that I think know what's going on. Terry put a 1 in the chat, so that's. It's been fun though. It's been fun. I figure I'd do that because it's a rare park. I don't know when somebody else is going to go back there, so you might as well get the.
Well, it was going to happen one way or another.
Right.
That because I was willing to give the other 4 an extra. You know what? They do know because I told them if Dan didn't do that, I said the 4 of you was going to get an extra call to me because I was going to use it on 2 meters and hunt the other 4 of them.
And we have to have the throne room, so we got that. So.
And Terry says he knows that I work Saudi Arabia. This is true.
Yes, right.
This is true. It's twice that I've worked Saudi Arabia, but the first time it was by somebody in the American military on a base there. This time it was actually somebody from Saudi Arabia. So good stuff. Good fun stuff. Yeah, I kind of got told on in Discord this weekend. I guess Joe was following me around when I was hunting people from Terry's.
You're off the porch again.
It was funny because I'd hunt somebody and then like 2 or 3 calls later I heard November 3 X-ray Lima Sierra.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was my
And then,
first victim on CW.
yeah, then all of a sudden I seen him post at Whiskey Delta 4 Delta Alpha November. The dog is off the porch again.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe was my first victim on CW today on the fence tenna. And he was really light in there. I could have swore I heard an N something, and I said N question mark, and I put my ear down to the speaker, and I was listening, and I said, Joe, yes, I got you. But no, Chris, on 40 sideband, we were using the Eagle One. Only on CW did I do the other fence tenna. Well, we were using the Eagle One on sideband. So probably why it sounded a lot better.
Speaking of CW, something that was interesting. We all know that I have to hear myself send CW more than I have to hear the other call come in.
Yeah.
So when boats were coming by and causing really bad wake, it was really hard for me to work CW.
I would like to meet somebody who can send CW but not hear themselves send it. I think everybody would have to hear what they're sending. Much like you have to hear what you're speaking. That's why deaf people, they don't talk the same as people who have hearing, because they can't hear themselves talk.
Right.
So I would assume everybody that I know anyway they have to hear themselves send, or they don't know what their fingers are really doing, you know?
That's why. Now, when I have on, I don't think I do it when I have on my house and I'm using the microphone on the house. But if I have on my house just for ear purposes and I'm using my regular microphone, I don't know that I'm doing it, but in my head, it sounds like I'm talking funny.
Yeah. So anytime I wear headphones, I have to turn on my monitor so I hear myself talk, because you don't know how loud you're talking. It's like somebody with the earplugs in is screaming at you, and you're like, "Why are you screaming at me?"
Right. You know, and here's interesting. I don't have my monitor turned on, but I'm wondering if my monitor is possibly turned on 80 meters. Is that setting universal on the DX10, or is it
I don't know.
per band?
I don't know.
Because when I was doing 80 meters on the 10 last night, and again, my FX one didn't go to field day, so no one can sure it either. Because we all know that when people plunder through your radio, aka Whiskey Delta 4 Delta, remember your stuff don't ever work again.
All right, let's see. Let me turn my monitor. I'm gonna turn on my monitor. I'm on 40 meters. Let me go to 30 meters. My monitor. Oh wait, it looks like it might be per band on me.
Per band, it is okay.
Yeah. So all right. So my monitor settings get stored in my band stacking register. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what it is. I just need to turn the monitor off in the 80 meter band.
And it's really funny when I forget it too, because I'll forget that I had it on, and I'll take my headphones off. Because I really only wear my headphones if I'm trying to listen to somebody that's really in the noise. And then I'll forget it, and I'll turn my headphones off. I'll turn the headphone volume down, and I'll turn my main volume back up through my external speakers, through my computer speakers, and I'll forget my monitor's on. And I'll key up and talk, and all of a sudden it'll get feedback. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Most of the time, I don't have mine with me, but sometimes I do have them with me. And like if I'm going to a certain park that stays busy and I know I'm doing CW, I'll always take my headphones, because I do CW loud. If anybody's ever been around me, you could be like 10 campgrounds down from me, and you can sit there and decode my CW.
You and Robbie should have a competition on who listens to their CW the loudest.
Maybe what we should do is we should get, like, me and Robbie should go to a place and camp, and we should get like 8 campsites apart and do a CW activation at the same exact time. And I have to put everybody that he gets in my log, and he has to put everybody I get in my log, and see who gets how many.
I don't think that'd be a problem whatsoever, to be honest with you.
He
listens listen to it loud too. I mean, I like it so I can hear it, but not like, oh my goodness. And the worst thing is people, I mean, you got your ear down there to the speaker, like what happened to me today. Joe's coming in really weak, and all of a sudden you get Kilo 8 Golf Quebec on 30 meters, just blistering your speaker.
Yeah.
And then you turn your head to the camera like this, and there's a little bit of blood running down your ear, and you're like, what happened? Oh, it's Terry.
It happens all the time. Like, it's always, anytime I'm trying to really pull out a weak signal, the next call comes through is just gonna, or worse, I'm trying to pull out that weak signal and I send Whiskey Delta ? And then somebody without Whiskey Delta comes blazing in, you know, for.
Yeah.
And I tell you, like, that's another problem I had with CW during field day too, is they didn't even care if you were on there calling CQ field day. They'd move on the same frequency and start calling CQ field. Me and this one guy, well, we all know how I am. I'm that dog that don't want to move, you know. And I had several contacts in, and then he starts calling CQ field day. So every time he would call CQ field day, I'd immediately hit my auto gear and call CQ field day. The funny thing was, I never heard him work a station, but I worked several while he did. So I was happy with this battle. You know?
We're calling, so on the opposite of that, we were calling CQ for a while this morning, 40 meters, sideband. CQ parks on the air. This is CQ parks on the air. This is. Now somebody called us. I said, all right, thank you. You're 5'9", US 3770 Georgia. And then they said, I didn't get your section or your class. And I said, US 3770 Georgia. I knew exactly what they wanted. And they'd be like, oh, okay. I'm like, you heard me say parks on the air at least twice. If you were even remotely listening, I'm not doing field day. I'm doing parks on the air. I mean, come on, people.
In case anybody's wondering right now, the SO50 is going over West Virginia. I just got the notification.
Why are you not outside streaming?
Well, it's actually in 5 minutes. It's going over. So.
How long's the normal workable pass for you? I know you got to wait for it to get above the mountains and everything else. What do you get, like maybe 3-4 minutes out of it?
If I'm home out of a 14-minute pass, I typically, if I'm lucky, get 6 minutes.
Yeah.
If I'm lucky. A lot of times 3 or 4 minutes, yeah.
Now, if you were on the top of Chief Logan, you get all 14 minutes of it, right?
Well, honestly, if I'm at Tomlin, one of my favorite two parks, as my cousin would say, I can get the whole pass.
Nice.
Chief Logan still has a little bit of interference. Tomlin, well, too, depending on where the pass is going and coming from, too. But that's just like it. If I'm home, I would rather have the pass come from the southwest and go east.
Yeah.
For it to come from the northwest and go southeast. So.
One of these days, I'll get into them satellites.
Well,
taking my time.
I've got a secret weapon that should be coming up fairly soon. I'm really looking forward to using it and doing a whole lot more satellites.
I mentioned it before. I think I mentioned it before. I'm taking your mentorship as far as getting into satellites. So what I'm doing is I'm going to buy an antenna, 1 year at a Hamfest. And then, maybe a year or so later, I'll buy a radio. And then maybe a year or so later, I'll say, okay.
A year later, you'll program the radio. Yeah. That radio sat in the box for almost a year.
Yeah.
Well, not quite a year. About 7 months, I guess. 6 or 7
Oh.
months.
Oh,
But I mean, it
man.
was a Yezu. We all know I couldn't have left a Yezu in the box that long.
Yeah. Whiskey One Whiskey Charlie is back from his field day adventure. Welcome, buddy. He ran into some inclement weather over field day, winds and rains and everything else. He had a lot of fun.
We had the inclement heat. Does that count?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of heat.
I'm surprised y'all are about. I imagine you and him are just about ready to pass out.
Yeah, I'm pushing that. I've still got a little bit to do tonight. Before that
Man, I love
happens.
that. I love that call sign. Kilo 8 Delta Romeo Tango. Good evening. I love that call sign, buddy. DRT.
Yeah, it's in my log quite a bit.
Me and that's an old profession. We used to joke around with the EMTs and everything. And if somebody was no longer with us when we got on scene, he was a DRT. Dead right there.
A funny thing though, nobody else commented that they figured out what me and you have been up to.
No, nobody has.
So I will say that when Terry figured it out and knows what it is, he said the exact same thing about it that you said, without knowing you said it.
Yeah, I like the call sign, like I said. 89 Zulu Sierra Lima. What's going on, Jeff? Welcome. Yeah, that's why I said I wish we could keep two, not just one.
Yeah. We could if we was in Canada.
Yeah.
I wonder if that does work the same for as personal calls do in Canada.
I don't know. Dennis, Alpha Delta 9 Whiskey Mike says, just getting recovered from field day. First time doing 24 hours and his last time doing it too. Absolutely.
Besides a little nap, I'm pushing 48 plus now because I had the boat activation and stuff beforehand. So,
but the real number that we all want is you're pushing 48 hours with a nap here and there. But what is the Dr. Pepper count? That's what we need to know. Was it more than a 6-pack?
hold on. Let me make a proper thing here.
Because you've been trying to cut down.
All right, so
We're just trying to, keep you accountable.
the morning of the boat, I left Terry's with the water.
While he's calculating his Dr. Peppers, everybody put in the chat, how many Dr. Peppers do you think he had over the course of 48 hours? Your cousin says 256.
Which is a pretty good guess, but
Yeah, it might be accurate. All right.
when I stopped at the gas station, I got a Monster Energy drink, which is not a Dr. Pepper, so it does not count.
All right. We got 26. We got 18. 7. No Mr. Pibb. Has to be Dr. Pepper.
We got out on the island. I had nothing on the island. When I got back, Ricky handed me a water, so I drank a water then.
Got 8, 14, 22. Somebody who was with you said 22, so that carries a lot of weight right there.
She never even seen me drink a Dr. Pepper. Now,
Ronnie says 48.
when we stopped and had lunch, I had my first Dr. Pepper.
12 cans, 2 bottles.
Uh,
No more than 8, Terry said. 2 cases.
after that, I went to the house real quick and had the second Dr. Pepper. Then went over to field day.
Eddie says 3.
And I've had
The median.
There was no
The
Dr.
median
Pepper,
right now
so
is
none
about
field day.
10.
So we're at 2. This morning after field day, I had a third, and one more since. So I've had 4 in 48 hours.
That's not bad. Now, if I'd have asked you that same question, say 6 months ago, it would have been like 50.
Most of those people in the chat would have been right.
Yeah.
But now mind you, I do have a horrible headache right now. I'm not saying it's a caffeine headache, but it probably is a caffeine headache.
Yeah. And you're not a coffee person.
No, that's what the Monster was. When I got the Monster that morning, I said, "Here's coffee, Terry."
Yeah.
Which technically a Monster would count against me.
Chris says, okay, so 4 is not bad, but were they 20-ounce bottles or 4 2-liters?
No, they were all 20-ounce bottles. And Terry, if I've missed anything, let me know. But regardless, it's going to be lower than the number of 6, regardless, even if I've missed something. And 6 would be what I'm allowed in 48 hours.
That's not bad.
But I'm getting ready to have a can. I noticed she has cans here with dinner in a minute.
You like them better in the can or the bottle? Honestly,
I like them better in the bottle.
Interesting. I like them better in the cans because to me, an aluminum can gets colder than a bottle does.
Well, you know that if you drink them that way, you could get cancer.
Cancer. That's a good one. Yeah.
Sorry, I did spend a lot of time with Terry this weekend.
That was a Terry joke for sure. That was definitely a Terry joke.
Yep. So we are getting close to the end, and I have an ideal. Kentucky is over, and I'm nowhere near 100% what I'm doing next. I have an ideal what I'm doing next, but what state would you guys like? And I know I'm going to get some stupid answers in here. What state would you guys like to see state number 4 for my work doll state?
Wyoming.
I told you.
Somebody say Wyoming. If you say Wyoming in the chat, he will know it came to me because he can't hear me. Somebody say Wyoming. North Carolina.
I've got 2 North Carolinas and Ohio so far. Tennessee.
Alabama. It's easy. North Dakota. Tennessee. Wisconsin. Wyoming.
Another North Dakota. Speaking of North Dakota, while you guys are still answering, I actually, the other night when I was hunting, I actually seen something that was so extremely rare.
Wyoming.
That was so extremely rare in Parks on the Air. You hardly ever see it. I seen a North Dakota operator operating in North Dakota.
Whoa. One that lives in North Dakota.
One of the 7 hams in North Dakota was activating in North Dakota.
Wow. Holy mackerel.
And the trucking ham said California, and I can go ahead and tell you that is ruled out.
See, I thought like field day in North Dakota, every time you called anybody, it was always like 7 Delta North Dakota because that was like everybody all in the same room. That is,
come think about it. How many people got, and I don't know if we did or not, but how many people got North Dakota on field day? Let's throw that out. I have no clue if we did.
Mommy Noodles chimed in here and said there's 8 now in North Dakota. Someone took their test last week.
Oh, okay.
Ronnie got a North Dakota field day contact. Dennis did. FT8 Chris did. Whiskey 1 Whiskey Charlie did. But were they 7 Delta, November Delta? Oh, 3 Alpha. Oh, so almost everybody.
So half of the state was in one place.
Yeah, buddy.
It's just crazy, man. Because when I saw that there was a North Dakota person activating in North Dakota, I was wigging out. Now you could tell this guy was newer, so that he probably is that 8th guy, Kyle. It's probably that guy who just took his test, because you could tell this guy was newer.
So there's 120 parks in Alabama, our friend Brian says. And he said it'll be easy. So I think Alabama should be your next target. And Brian said you can start next weekend. You can probably do it in a weekend.
So just so you know, and nothing is set in stone. If I go the way I want to go, somebody in the chat hit it.
Wyoming.
If I go the way I go.
You got a good head start in North Carolina. That's true. He does.
I don't have a good start in North Carolina.
Better than you do in Wyoming.
Well, yeah, I've not even did anything in Wyoming.
There you go. See, you can go from Atno to hero in 1 week.
I would say out of all the states that everybody picked, the closest state to done would be Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm not saying whether that's it or not.
Oh, there's still no, Kyle. There's still parks in West Virginia that he has to activate to make his activated all West Virginia real.
No, real. When you get the award, you get the award. It doesn't matter if they are added again. They have added 8 new wilderness areas on me, Kyle, and I'm going to have to hike.
Oh yeah, and they added like 20 in Delaware, didn't they? More than that.
Yeah, I will never do it Delaware again. I have activated all of Delaware, just like there's possibility of a couple of Kentucky parks coming out very soon, and I already know where they are, and I can go ahead and tell you they will not be done by me unless for some godforsaken reason there's something cool added over that way and I go there. But I've actually been to one of them before, not activating, but I've been there. There's no way I would go there for that.
Dennis said go to Missouri.
No, I can't activate all Missouri because everybody keeps telling me to stay out of East St. Louis.
That's probably a good idea.
But
You'll need Kyle to be your chaperone.
well, you know what? I mean, I could do Alabama if Brian would want to take like a week and just drive me around to do all of Alabama, and of course pay for the gas, Brian.
There you go. So how's this work? So he drives and pays for the gas, and you pick up food?
And I what?
And you pay for the food, or what?
Oh no. Terry's gonna pay for the food.
Oh, if Terry's paying for the food, we're eating at like steakhouses every night. Absolutely.
I'll tell you what. If I have too many more work months like this month, there won't be no trips coming up. No, I'm saying anyway. It's been a rough month.
Well, you got a slave driver for a boss too, so
I know it. He's horrible. You know, he's not even giving me the 4th of July. But
right?
You know what? He told me that I was going to do a early late shift after the stream tonight. And little does he know that I don't even have radio gear with me. So guess what? I'm going to eat dinner here and spend a little bit of time with my mom while she's in, and then I'm going to bed and sleeping some, and then I'll be back out activating in the morning. That means all you PCN people can do it the hard way tomorrow and actually hunt me tomorrow.
That's
They
right.
hate it when they don't get me late shift.
I don't mind it. It's whatever.
I can guarantee you that when I spot tomorrow morning, Dan will be in the first 5 calls. I'll guarantee that.
It doesn't matter to me if you do a late shift the day before or not, because I know you're going to activate sometime the next day. You know,
They all
I mean,
they all stress the band conditions.
Yeah.
And just so you know, more than likely next year is the last year I'm even running the BZN challenge. So if you're getting burnt out this year and you're thinking about not doing next year, it'll be your last chance to do it again. So because as long as I'm doing a PZN challenge, I'm obligated to activate every day. I miss out on a lot of things that way.
If Terry does it this year and next year, that makes 4 years straight. Is that right?
Yes, 4.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Terry
He has definitely choked on Kool-Aid.
Kyle said he'll start in 2026.
Yep.
All
in. That's right.
Kyle, just so you know, that means you start on January 1st of 2026, not May the 30th.
I'll do it every day if you can commit to doing Hellfeld every activation.
Every day Hellfield?
Mhm. Yep.
And only Hellfield?
Yeah. That's all you can run the whole day.
No, I can't count it. I can't do it. Dude, I have
no voice, no CW, all Hellfield.
I have more sideband QSOs than anybody in the world in Parks and I don't plan on giving that up anytime soon.
No. The funny thing is, you can probably do a whole year of nothing but digital and still have that. Oh, Kyle's going by the old Egyptian calendar for the PZN challenge. All right, awesome. He's going to figure out where, the moon god aligns with whoever to figure out if he's going to hunt you that day. You should just Kyle, you need to get a sextant and hold it up to the sky at night and get a bearing to figure out if that's the day that you need to hunt James.
Here's a question for you, Kyle, and Dan, you can answer it too. If you lost your hearing and you had something rigged on your radio that would blink the lights in CW, could you still do CW?
Right now?
Right now.
No. I'd have to learn it visually, but it would definitely be something I'd be all in to do. But I couldn't do it right now.
I don't think I could do it.
I mean, not right now, this very second, but give me a year or so to learn it.
And here's the big question too. How are you going to send if you can't hear it too?
Watch the light, I guess, will be your only way. You have to do it all by light. But I'd have to figure out a way to.
Kyle says, yeah, he'd have to practice, but he could do it. I was just thinking about that because you know the whole flashlight SOS thing you see on the movies sometimes, and I got to thinking about that. I was like, I don't think I could do that. I'd start practicing it and learning it, and then the next thing you know, they're like, why didn't James activate today? Oh, he had a seizure.
He was trying to learn CW. Yeah,
he's trying to learn CW watching a strobe light.
I mean, a lot of people. I mean, I don't think it's common nowadays, but old days they used to signal ships like that. Do signaling from ship to ship with the Morse code light.
People can do it. I'm just curious if people think they could do it.
I think POTA ought to have a valid mode called like semaphore flags. So we could put up like semaphore flags to communicate with each other. But no, I think I could learn CW by just watching a blinking light. It's not something I can do right now. I mean, I might catch a letter or two, just watching it, but it's not, I wouldn't be as proficient as I am now. And even by ear, I'm not proficient by any means, but.
And here's another question for you, Kyle, and Dan can answer it as well too. If you're in a single park, so POTA's going to catch it anyway. If you're in a single park and you work me doing a POTA activation, are you going to put the park number in there?
Yes.
Yeah, you are, Dan? Okay.
If I know it. Yeah. Yep. For me, it's kind of automatic to do it because I use Polo. So it'll pull it.
No. Are you going to send me your park number and let me know that it is a park to park?
Oh, no. No. I thought you meant logging. No.
Because I don't never do it. I don't never do it.
No.
And the other weird thing I do is I'll be in Kentucky or Ohio or something like that. And if I hunt somebody, it's going to be a park to park. I will give them their signal report and put West Virginia.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember. I think it was Robbie the other day. I sent Robbie a text and said, "Did you just work me and say you were from Michigan?" And he did, because he was working me on a remote in Michigan. But I immediately caught that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want people to say, "Oh, that's PZN." Oh no, wait, he's in Ohio. That's not PZN. Who was it? I don't know.
Brian's answer is whatever lets me use the most punctuation. but my real answer, all right, so say if I'm in a twofer, and we'll get back to you in a minute, Brian, because that was hilarious. If I'm in a twofer and I know you as an activator, like if it's Kyle or you, I won't send both park numbers. I'll send like the number 2 and then parks or something like that. Just so you know, to log me twice.
I know good enough that I've got their number or them on friends in Discord or something. I'm still not sending nothing because I'm just messaging them afterwards and say, "Hey, I was in 7069 and 12044."
Yeah. Now,
Stephen, it's not that I can't send the park numbers. And it's just like Stephen can send them, but Stephen will do me the same way. Now I might even put PTP if it's somebody I know, because they know that I'm going to be texting them a park numbers. And then Stephen will do that a lot of times. He'll put P2P, and then I'll get a text from him saying where he's at.
Now, Brian here would send, "Hi, James, comma, I'm in 2 parks, period. They are as follows, colon, US dash 1234, comma, US dash 4567, period. Thank you for the QSO. Period.
Also, please log me as Whiskey 1 Whiskey Charlie / stroke.
Actually, I don't know if there's a colon in Morse code or I don't know.
All right. Anyway,
I know there's a lot of colons that send Morse code on 80 meters, but I don't know if there's a character colon.
Dan, what you got coming up?
Not a lot. Glad field day's over. It's been a long weekend for everybody. Hopefully everybody who participated in field day had fun. And like I said, Wednesday, I hope you stay hydrated. Hopefully everybody is physically well after that. Get some rest. Everybody's probably well deserved, and take care of yourselves. And thanks for joining us on Shenanigans. 128 is the episode number. We're moving right along.
Roger. And for me, again, I'm not doing an early late tonight. You guys can take a nap after field day or do whatever you want to do. I will be back out tomorrow after I've got up on a little bit of sleep. Should be out early as normal. That sounds weird when we're talking about me doing it early as normal.
Normal? Yeah, that's
But I'll be out early doing activations. I'm probably just staying local for this week because my mom is in from Florida this week, and I'm trying to spend some time with her as well. So, but I'll do my parks locally and then come up here in the evenings, and I should be doing some late shifts, in the evenings as I'm leaving or something. But other than that, dropping videos and streaming and activating parks. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight. And if you can't figure out what me and Dan's doing, you better pay more attention. 73, everybody.
See you guys.